This is my desk setup. It's not pretty, it's not particularly functional, and it's very, very messy. So let's check it out. So this is where all the magic happens. Yes, that kind of magic too. Anyway, starting with the shooting desk that you're all familiar with seeing, it horrendously sits in the center of my condo. Then the storage wall beside that with a quick shout out to my IKEA camera gear cart, which really has no benefit over a stationary organizer, but it does a great job at keeping my gear safe and organized. The main rack behind that stores my go-to backpacks, with the real winners here being these metallic S-hooks that I highly recommend for anyone who also has a bag addiction. The side shelves store my mini fidget drawers, and the large rack beside that is organized storage for other accessories. Obviously, I've got my Iron Man collection, which spans both corners because, well, Tony Stark deserves it. And for all of you who ask what I do with the EDC and accessories after I finish a video, I'm not kidding when I say it's just sitting on the floor. Anyways, checking out the mothership, the centerpiece of the space, the tabletop is a Carlby IKEA wood top. I'd also say I have a pretty strong wire management game thanks to this single Velcro strap. And yes, I do live in constant fear of my desk tipping over on me. Thankfully, I thrive creatively off YOLOing. So after conquering an obstacle course every morning just to get to my desk, I have one party trick that never seems to impress anyone I show it to. Hey Siri, turn on PC. But that, my friends, is what I call wasted potential. Which leads me to my first desk accessory, the Grovemade wooden MagSafe stand, because having my phone in plain sight while I work makes it that much easier to procrastinate. The stand itself, though, is one of my favorite MagSafe stands to date, made of some beautiful walnut wood, vegetable tan leather accents, wrapped around the stainless steel arm, and complete with a 3/4 inch steel base. This thing smacks. But at the core of it, it just holds the MagSafe wireless charger, utilizing nanosuction so it can be washed and reused repeatedly, similar to my feelings. It does hold its ground in my scientific shake test. This level 1 maze on the bottom keeps the wire tight in place, and when combined with the hunk of metal as a base, yeah, this stand can do some damage. Then there's the small details, like the chamfer around the wood that allows any chubby fingers to comfortably grip onto your phone, and thanks to the added weight of the stand, makes removing your phone feel seamless, while at the same time, when docked, keeping your phone at a viewable angle and withstanding my scientific poke test. Moving along though, a desk setup isn't complete without a keyboard, and lately I've been testing this, the Keychron K4 version 2, a mechanical style keyboard that, yes, is as clicky as it sounds. For me, this is some serious nostalgia for anyone who owned a PC in the 90s and had that old school thick boy keyboard. The K4 is basically a new and improved version of that, obviously with some cool lighting effects built in as well. All I can say is these brown hot swappable Gatoron switches sound and feel great, although my girlfriend sitting a few feet away doesn't seem to feel the same enthusiasm for it. This bad boy in particular can be wired or wireless and can adapt to a Windows or Mac keyboard layout, plus even going as far as providing you with unique keycaps for either option. But what sold me here is the lack of wasted space while still keeping the numpad on the right side, and this custom fidget spinner keycap definitely makes it a lot more approachable and way more fun to have on my table. It's sold separately, but I have linked it down below, and it will fit on most mechanical keyboards if you're a fidget addict like I am. Now, to help with the ergonomics of the added height on this keyboard, Keychron also makes a wooden palm rest. You can easily use any piece of junk lying around to ergonomics 101 your wrist, but this dark wooden finish complements the rest of the table accessories nicely. Even the metallic branding is a nice eye pleaser for something so simple. Thankfully, I didn't own this as a child though, because this is way more intimidating than a broom, if you know what I'm saying. Now, the second desk must have a mouse, which I recently switched over to this mountain of plastic, the Logitech MX Ergo. Wrist pain is no longer something you laugh at someone else for, as now you're being the one laughed at instead. But basically, you use your thumb to roll a ball and move the cursor around, with the main benefit being you no longer have to constantly be moving your whole forearm, which we all know you do enough after midnight, but this allows your wrist to be in 3 stationary positions, as the main goal is to keep your wrist straight and rested. And while yes, my thumb does get tired too, it's still a way better trade-off than having wrist pain 24/7. A quick shout out to the mouse pad, because although I don't actually need it to move the mouse around, come on, it's just rad. From Knafs, this is their knife mouse pad, which has this very Iron Man-like breakdown of a knife, and it's just an informative product that actually looks good sitting on your desk. Oh, but as a mouse pad, it's soft, can take some stretching force, and I double it as my coaster. Tool mat too, because it can take some sharp objects, and my tech workstation as well to keep those damn tiny screws from rolling around all over the place. So during the pandemic, I've been eating whatever I want, whenever I want, right at my desk. Hence, at the very least, I've been trying to cut down on sugar. Thankfully, I found Magic Spoon, the partner for today's video, as they've made it so much easier to do so. Because even with 0 sugar, it's still packed with plenty of flavor. Plus, if you're trying to get as swole as I am, it also makes for a tasty post-workout meal, as it also packs in 13 grams of protein, but surprisingly, only 4 grams of carbs per serving. My personal favorite going to the frosty flavor, as it literally tastes like my childhood. But if your memories aren't as sugar-filled as mine, their variety pack also includes fruity, cocoa, and their new peanut butter flavor as well. For those lactose intolerant like I am, I highly recommend pairing this with almond milk for a quick and healthy snack. Thankfully, you also don't have to worry about the cereal itself, as it's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and GMO-free. Honestly, I don't know how this exists, as it sounds like it's made of air, but like tasty air. In the end, if you're like me and can barely fry an egg properly, so you resort to snacking instead, then the least you could do is make it a healthy one. And yes, I get hangry pretty often. But if you do as well, visit magicspoon.com/accessorize and use my code to get $5 off your order. The best part is you can try it risk-free with their 100% happiness guaranteed. If it ain't for your taste buds, they'll refund you, no questions asked. Seriously, it's such a flex to say you're eating cereal for dinner. Links down below. Now taking a step back, the table itself is actually covered in a huge mat. Another from Grovemade. This is their mat desk pad. It's literally a giant sheet of linoleum, which I can only explain feels like a fancy notebook cover. And it's lined with cork underneath, which gives it grip and also some actual padding, which is important to me. As you may have noticed in my videos, I like to carefully put things down. So it's nice knowing it's safe to do so basically anywhere on my desk now. Plus, for the slobs out there, myself included, although it may feel like textured paper, I've had some first-hand experience with the coffee jitters and it's handled it just fine. Seriously, there isn't a single mark on this whole pad after several months of usage. It's got the GOAT status of desk pads achieved. Now, having said that, I do like to get handsy as well. So beside that, I was able to fit a standard cutting board. It definitely doesn't get any points in the aesthetics department, but functionally, having a corner I can actually bang, cut, scratch, fits my OCD of always needing to scratch an itch when an idea comes to mind. However, I do want to point out this tool that my good friend found for me. Yes, it's a Tetris Multi-Tool. It's not super sharp, it's kind of difficult to access anything, but it's made of metal, and if you're a Tetris fan, this should already be in your cart, ready to check out because T-spins. If you know, you know. For storage and air quotes organization on my desk, yes, repeat after me, another from Grovemade. This is their wood desk shelf. Basically, if you're a fan of wood anything, just buy everything they sell. This one being handmade, just this long plank of plywood squeezed together. Combine that with these thick, black, dyed cork feet, which when put together with a dark walnut look is a no-brainer for anyone looking for CEO vibes right on their desk. Seriously though, my whole livelihood is held up by this beautiful piece of furniture. Great again for ergonomics, raising your laptop up to eye level, and although your 10-year-old textbooks will work the same, you're a grown-up now. It's time to invest in yourself. Plus, adult money means you can fill it right back up with all your toys anyways. Now diving into a few accessories, I want to give this a mention. This retro speaker from Muzen is actually packed with some modern tech. It's not the best speaker out there, but I do keep it around because, as you may have guessed by now, I like to keep things around that please my eyes. Plus, although it can be used as a Bluetooth speaker, I only ever use it for this, the built-in FM radio with its physical station dial for the real feels. Now continuing that trend of visually appealing inspiration that takes up rent space on my desk, my collection of fidget toys that I'm currently playing with. If it's in this pile, then I really dig it. But one that I do want to mention is the Thinket, which I guess the best way to describe is that it's a really big button. A very sturdy, all metallic build button that's based on magnets. You push one end and it pops out the other. It's satisfying yet infuriating, because you've successfully pushed one side in, but then it comes right back out the other side to like mock you or something. But at the same time, it's that auto resetting that makes it just so easy to fidget with. You can do it all one-handed, play with it on your desk repeatedly, or you can practice your solo midnight game, as this is just as pleasurable. The best part though, it's basically silent, which is rare to find in the fidget world. So it's one I can take with me everywhere without completely annoying everyone else around me. Now this whole section here is just filled with knickknacks that inspire me. So comment down below if you want a dedicated video on all of this. But moving to the center is the monitor stand itself, which I've also doubled as a tray and, well, a dustpan too apparently. But on the opposite end of that shelf is a lot more functional. Most notably, this charger from Zendure. This is their SuperPort 4 charger, which deserves its own spot because it outputs 100 watts in a single port. Cha-ching. Plus, 4 fast charging ports is plenty enough for me, and the flat design is perfect for this space since I can still pile on top of it on the regular. I have it facing in reverse because my big brain came up with the idea to hide the cables within the shelf underneath. Honestly, a very proud moment in my quest to keep my desk super organized. Within that shelf, I utilize this magnetic cable management system from Smartish and their cable Wrangler. So when all the cables are pushed and tucked back into the shelf, the whole base is magnetic and catches the end of each cable fairly well based on my scientific shake tests. Plus, it keeps the tip of each cable poking out for easy access, just how I like it. Beside that, within the shelf is just enough space for this beast of a wireless charger, the Nomad Base Station Pro. I featured this luxury in detail in my previous video linked above, but it deserves a dedicated spot on my desk because of this. You simply set your phone on top, and well, bam. You no longer have to align or try and get the exact position anymore. Plus, it does charge up to 3 devices simultaneously, which makes this the perfect charging station that I can just toss my devices onto at the end of the day. Do note that the shelf itself is lined in some nice felt wool-like material, and it's actually exactly wide enough to store a 13-inch MacBook Pro inside too, which honestly, looks pretty clean. Under that is Grovemade's optional desk tray, designed to also fit perfectly within their shelf. I figured, why not, since I'm such an organized person anyways. A few additional cork cutouts to store my goodies, never hurt anybody. Plus, with the cork also lined along the bottom, it makes sliding into your DMs super smooth, while the metallic structure keeps everything feeling 100. Thankfully also, cork is one of those magical materials that I don't have to worry about scratching up to. Now this merry condo show isn't over just yet. This shelf just keeps on giving, with a final large open storage area directly under the rest of it, perfect to fit my weirdly shaped trays and even larger devices to nap comfortably underneath. A simple measure of space is that it fits about as tall as a 5'11" Asian dude's fist, so yes, on lazier days, it's my ideal location to just stuff things into and pretend like I'm organized. By now, I think it's pretty obvious I like storage. So when I was able to get my hands on the Holmes and Hadfield watch box organizer, I knew it deserved its own dedicated space. It's got this thick, clear plastic cover, which surprisingly hasn't scratched at all given how I've treated it. And it's got 4 wooden pegs built in that your watches could cuddle with until you're ready to summon them. Plus, they're also perfectly shaped to keep the watches from twisting and turning on their own. Now underneath that is where I usually keep my other gems, sort of overflow while keeping them dust free. But realistically, it's the perfect spot to store all your keys, wallet, and daily essentials in one place. So like all the other knickknacks on my desk, having my favorite watches beautifully displayed is just another source of inspiration in what appears to be this chaotic mess. And if used properly, it makes for a great catch-all when you get home, so that one day you will be prepared to use your daily essentials. Spinning to the opposite end of the table are my Drop Panda THX wireless headphones. Now, I don't claim to be an audiophile, but even I can tell that these are the best sounding wireless earphones I've ever used. On top of that, the matte black and brandless finish should be enough for any blackout fans out there. Especially when you consider these fluffy pillows on your ears, it's like wearing a somewhat heavy cloud, because seriously, it's got some heft, but in a good way, like money well spent. But straight up, they are on the pricey end, especially given it doesn't have active noise cancellation, although it does include all the essentials to get you up and running, with dual mics built in that work well for taking calls on the go. But if you want something more serious, they also sell this headset attachment, with my favorite part being able to mute directly through the wire, after raging at Larry on the other end for the 5th time today. And lastly, it wouldn't be right if I didn't share my oldest piece of desk tech. I use this for all my voiceovers. This is the Blue Yeti. It's the microphone I've used for years now, and my only piece of advice when it comes to audio is to not overspend on microphones. Because as long as it doesn't completely suck, like it's all staticky or it sounds like you're a mile away, I find no one actually cares. YouTube 101. I recently upgraded to the Rode mic arm, which I think is super overkill, and honestly, while it holds the mic at plenty of angles, I would have been just as happy saving over $100 and using a piece of wood too. But aesthetics, am I right? So do y'all want this to become a desk setup and accessory series? Let me know in the comments down below, but that's it. I rest my desk.